Here. Oh, yes. Awesome. I liked this book.
Yeah, I did too.
Interesting.
It gives you a lot of hope.
Yeah. I wish that they had made one for just teaching in general rather than social studies based.
Yeah.
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 Should we just talk about chapter 7 first and then chapter 8, or just all together?
I didn't know if we were talking about the book and all, or
About 7 and then jump into 8 if I want.
Yeah.
that's.
Okay.
Oh, why is it doing that? Okay. All right. Let's see. Chapter 7.
So they started chapter 7 just talking about, I feel like we hit on this at the beginning, but how people used to not have time to focus on social studies, and I just noted that I still feel that's the case. That I talked with my mentor teacher, and we're supposed to spend 40 minutes a day on social studies. And when she told me that, I don't understand it, because it feels like cramming in math and reading and writing as it is on top of everything else that they have to do during the day. So it seems crazy to spend that much time on social studies, but after reading this book, it makes me feel that it's way important to, try to get it in daily, because I don't know, even though we're all in grade school, it's still important for them to have this going forward, the foundation.
Yeah, I agree.
And they had a lot of good ideas about how we can do that.
Yeah. No, I
What do
agree.
y'all think?
I agree.
Like
I
in
mean,
y'all's classroom?
well, for pre-K, I mean, to be honest, we don't really primarily focus on social studies as much as we should, because I mean, our schedule, obviously you're supposed to go over the 4 subjects, but really and truly, there's not enough, like, I guess, time, and we should spend time going over things, especially if there's like things going on that we can incorporate into a lesson. But we don't really focus on social studies as much as we should, and we try to, but it's hard, like, especially with the littles too. But yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
I feel that like with the younger group, it's so like easy for us to like just skip it because we're trying to fit everything in. And since they're so young, like hitting hard on reading and math, like, I mean, you can't do pretty much anything without reading, So if you can't, that's top priority. And I feel both ways about it because I love like doing social study activities with them. But like being second grade, like still having those who are struggle like with reading and who possibly can't read still but got moved along. I just feel like that's top priority. But I will say that this curriculum that we use, it pretty much is integrated into our reading stuff. And so it's been nice because if for some reason I don't get to do like an actual social studies plan, like lesson plan for it, then I know like, oh, well, it might be touched in this lesson for reading that we're doing today or our story that goes with it. And so it's kind of interesting and like right now we get to do science with our reading stories and stuff like that. So it's nice, but it does kind of stink that you don't get to do more like fun social studies things and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, the first grade classroom that I was in, they had like on their schedule like 20 to 30 minutes a day allotted for social, and it just always felt so rushed and just like that was like history doesn't matter, but like this book just like really made me think that it does need to be talked about more with them because they, even though they are younger, they will one day do all of these things and they need to know about it.
And that's probably why, you know, when kids get older into the upper elementary grades, they think it's boring because you didn't touch a base on it whenever, you know, being younger. So they think, okay, this is, you know, why do I need to learn about this? I'm sorry, I'll move. But give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
I think that it is also kind of like challenging too, just because like when I think of like social studies, I think of like middle school level. So especially with the younger group, there are tons of things that we could talk about and teach the younger kids, but I would say like going more into depth is a little bit just because it is so like I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know. I just feel like you should go into so much detail so they truly like understand like what happened and when and why those things happen. Especially with the young ones, it could be more challenging to get them to sit there and be like, oh, well, this happened 40 years ago. And they're like, oh, well, why do we need to know this? You know, and their attention span too. So,
Yeah, it is hard.
did anybody their little document? I left my house, and I cannot remember the name of it to save my life. So I can pull it up if one of y'all have yours out, and then I can kind of just look at that too.
Mm-mm.
I was looking for it earlier and I couldn't remember the name of it in my email.
Pull it up.
So where it said that we could purposely integrate social studies into our reading block in a meaningful way daily, do you think that could work for you all in your future classrooms? Like kind of what you were saying, just work it into your reading. Because I mean, history is a lot about reading too. So that could be good.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking, like Darren, you're planning, like we meet weekly to plan, and social studies is always in the plan, but it doesn't always get taught. But if we, I don't know, I feel like that would be a good way to work it in.
Yeah, I think that it's possible, but falling back to, I think getting out of that habit of making yourself, okay, you need to dedicate this amount of time and get it done. Whether that's setting a timer, I have timers for literally everything throughout my day. And I mean, but like I said, like somehow find whether it just be like pulling up a video and it could be something that you've talked about and you find it active and that kind of thing too.
This was all the way, I think this was in chapter 8, but where it said that one of the teachers, hang on, let me find out how I highlighted it. It was in chapter 8, so I'm kind of jumping, but where it said the teacher had to do the get in where you fit in strategy, which is kind of what we're talking about, but how she said they would kind of touch on it, and then the next morning during morning meeting, she would give them the option to talk about it again. That kind of seemed like a good idea, because our morning meetings are kind of, we put them together and there's small videos, but it kind of goes over just like attitudes and what we could do that day to be better. But I feel like that would be a good opportunity to talk about, kind of, you already have like an empty thing going. Empty is not the right word, but just a space filler for a morning meeting. And I feel like that would be a good time to fit it in, to be more intentional with it. That's my baby.
Okay, I think. Was there any other like main thing y'all wanted to talk about in chapter 7?
I don't think so.
No.
I really liked their lesson over the book, The Empty Pot. That sounded really fun. Their debate.
Yeah, they just put a lot into that. It was, and then how she said how it felt like there were a lot of interruptions, but they're good interruptions. So somebody posted in our discussion how the kids were just talking and disruptive, but how she said that these were the good kinds of interruptions where they're asking questions that they're learning from. About, they had that Asian child in their classroom, so they got to learn about that, and that kind of just tagged on to their lesson already. Not that kids always have the good interruptions, but it would be nice to think that they would.
Yeah.
Like, why are you talking? Well, I was asking. I'm like, great, loved it. Love to hear it, y'all. Carry on.
I think that's it.
Thing too. Bringing in, like the whole cultural thing. With like quick 10 minutes, a different culture and what they might push it is like, look, here's some we're learning. What things that they make.
It's gonna get late.
Some of the questions just says, like, imagine culture. What would that be for your classroom?
What was your question? I think I don't know if it's my computer or you. So I'm breaking it out.
Is that a little bit better?
It might be me.
It says like imagining like of your class where children are culture.
I know mine's done.
So like, how do you feel that your class would be?
Class would be what?
Like, how would they, like, how would your classroom be? Like, if your students were appreciating cultures and stuff?
Oh, you're cutting in and out.
a lot.
Now mine's doing it too.
Oh man, it's raining here, but
It's like I can't hear you.
I didn't know if it was my computer either, and I was trying to turn up my volume, but
I'm gonna disconnect from Wi-Fi. Okay, is that a little bit better?
Maybe.
yeah, maybe. Hopefully this time.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time.
There you go.
Um,
Okay.
imagining like your classroom, like a future classroom where your students have had like the background of being like a consistently like taught with social studies, like appreciating culture and different perspectives. Like, how do you feel that your classroom would do with that and learning new like social aspects, I guess?
I think once they have the background knowledge that, that we've given them in the foundation, I think that students would be great with it. Because it's interesting, and I think it would hold their interest for a little bit, and they get to learn about themselves and the people around them. I think that they would be good with it. I would hope so.
Yeah, I think that it would be really good for them because like I work with littles, and whenever somebody new comes in, there's always those questions, why do they look like that? Why are they wearing glasses? One of them asked me the other day why so and so was brown, and I'm like, this is just, it's stuff that we need to talk about more, like they're gonna benefit from. And if we just ignore it until they're older, then they're learning it when they should already have all of this background knowledge about these things.
I think it's important to bring cultural awareness and diversity into the class, especially if we just do little things like just even if it's reading books or bringing little or them sharing like their traditions or what they do, what they like, and just getting to know everybody and basically what y'all said, just getting to know themselves and everyone around them. So
I feel like it even plays a role into like how they are now and maybe like what they already know, but that they don't realize that it's a part of history. Or,
Mhm.
like, because a lot of them know a lot of things that I did not know when I was their age. Just and they grasp that and like stuff,
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
their ideas and their understanding of history or geography, whatever, around the world. And I think that, like, especially will play a role like it when they grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had like a
Did y'all
high impact quote
Sorry.
highlighted, but I can't find it.
I highlighted where it said, we remember a quote from a man named Lawrence Tan who said, if children are old enough to experience injustice, then they're old enough to learn about it. I think that was a big one because sometimes people think that they're too young, but I mean, they're living it. So it would be
Mhm.
important to teach them about it.
I
Let's
like
say
that.
hi. Say hi.
I had put
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Like people just don't give the students credit. Like I feel like they know way more than we think they do anyway when it comes to stuff like social studies, and some of it may not be factual that they think they know. So
yeah.
Yeah.
That was had, like just saying like how that kind of work about those things are important for not just older kids or littles or just. So I like that too. I'm glad that. And I think that you can always, like, even if it is something that, like, I guess, say maybe with your personal beliefs, say, like, oh, I don't know if I feel comfortable talking about this, or class, or to a certain student, or I think that there are other ways that not necessarily like dial it, but not go as into explicit, details about it as well. So there's ways. I mean, even if you have parents who are like, oh, well, that's just not appropriate. You don't where that may not make it appropriate. You can always change the way you teach. Well,
Gosh, sorry. No, that was my fur child. Hush. He's like, give me attention. What?
Well, then how she talked, they brought in the point where remain unbiased, of course, and then where the teachers were asking how to keep it like a secret, and then they're saying don't keep it a secret, and where they met with that grandmother who had issues with it, and once they talked to her, face to face, and let her know what they were doing and why they were doing it, and she left understanding and wanting her daughter or her granddaughter to be there. I feel like that is important. It's important for us to have that relationship with our students' parents or guardians anyway. But when they have issues, to just talk with them and let them know why, instead of just sending out a piece of paper saying, we're learning about this. That does seem kind of scary, but after they hear why, I don't know. I really like this book. I don't know. I wish our world would be exactly like this book saying it will, but it's not.
Yeah.
It just gives you a lot of hope.
The thing that I had highlighted was when they were talking about not being in the business of changing minds, but giving opportunities for these students to consider the big ideas and multiple perspectives, and like keeping it factual instead of us telling them our opinions and saying that you have to think the way that we think, because I feel like sometimes people can think that that's what is being done in schools when it's not, or most of the time it's not.
Yeah, just like, you believe what you want to believe, but like, well, I mean, I felt anything, but it's okay to feel this way as well. Like, I don't know. I think that you could pull that into discussions as well, especially with the older group, and that like a little debate. Why do you believe this way? Talk about. Anything else?
No.
I don't think so.
Coach read this book, and they loved it just as I have. And they did say, in a perfect world, this is what it would be.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
We can do it.
I think there are things that we can take from it and do something with it every day. Now, would we be able to step exactly what they talked about? Probably not, and that would probably never. But we can And even if picking for
Well, I
well,
hope y'all have a good Christmas, and it was nice to do this with you guys. Sorry I missed last week, but
It
that
happens.
is totally
You're fine.
so. Well,
y'all are
I
awesome, and I hope y'all the best.
enjoyed y'all being in the group with me. So, and maybe we'll have something next semester where we get to work something like that together.
You want to come say something? Come over here. Sorry, y'all. Is it still recording?
Yeah.
Okay.